So my friend Mark calls me up one day in college in Minnesota and says, "Hey, Sam, want to go do karaoke?" Now, I'd done karaoke before, and it was okay, so I was probably going to say no until Mark added, "It's punk rock karaoke." Now, honestly, punk is more Mark's scene than my scene, but I want to look cool, you know, so I say, well, I mean, if it's punk rock karaoke, then hell yeah. Except the venue that night's given me kind of some odd vibes. About 9/10 of it is this stag Mexican restaurant. Just guys drinking buckets of Corona and watching Poltergeist dubbed into Spanish on this gigantic television. Punk rock karaoke is just the very back corner, like some wobbly tables, a dude with a laptop, maybe a dozen people. So Mark and I make our way over, and we start flipping through the list of songs. And I realize pretty quickly that I have no idea who any of these bands are. I mean, there's the Circle Jerks, Gorilla Biscuit, Stormtroopers of Death. Finally, at the end, I find Talking Heads. So I pick Psycho Killer. It's a song I know well. A few people go before me. There's kind of a lot of screaming involved, but then it's my turn. I hop up on stage, and I'm getting excited because I can hear the bass line of my song start. The only problem is I can't find the scream, you know, with the lyrics on it. I look high, I look low, nothing. And finally, I have to lean over to the guy with the laptop and say, like, "Hey, where's the screen? Like, with the lyrics?" And the guy just kind of looks at me. And he goes, "Lyrics? This is punk rock karaoke. Just go." And that's when I learned a lesson, that there is a vast gulf between knowing a song at karaoke level and really knowing a song. I'm not sure where to come in exactly. I stumble through several lines. And about halfway through, I remember something important, that the last verse of this song is in French. Fun fact, I don't speak French. So at this point, Poltergeist is blaring in Spanish in one half of the bar. I'm screaming punk in a terrible French accent, and everyone else is silent. And I bomb. I mean, there's not even token applause. And I just kind of slump back down next to my friend Mark, who turns to me and says, "You sucked." And I'm so humiliated that I refuse to go up again that night. In fact, I refuse to do karaoke at all after that, even when friends invite me. I just keep thinking, like, what if I bomb again? And for years, I'm carrying it around with me, this secret karaoke humiliation. And all I can do is vow that someday I am going to redeem myself. So about 10 years later, after Mark and I have both moved to DC, when he calls me up one day and says, "Hey, Sam, there's a new group putting on punk rock karaoke. You want to go?" I mean, there's only one answer I can give. Hell yeah. Because it is time to redeem myself. So it takes place at Black Cat Saturday night. When Mark and I get there, there's probably already about 200 people there. They're still running all the music off a laptop, but this time that laptop is connected to a screen with lyrics. So I'm feeling confident. And I grab that song list and I flip right to the T's, because if this is going to be a true exorcism, I need to do another Talking Heads song, Burning Down the House. So my name comes up about halfway through the night. And the young woman who goes before me does a Ramones song and just kills it. The crowd is pulsing. I feel like most times I've seen karaoke, everyone's just kind of milling around, waiting for their song to come up, not really paying attention. Not here. This is a concert atmosphere. There are people jumping up on stage and running around during other people's songs. There's that much energy in the room. So I hop up on stage and I signal the woman with the laptop to start my song. And oddly, right after she does so, she looks down at her screen and starts like furiously punching some buttons, but I don't care because I can hear my song starting. I can hear that low guitar trill and that spacey boom, boom, boom. And the crowd hears it too, and they go nuts. They love this song. And I am soaking all of this in. And I am so jazzed that I don't even bother looking down at the screen for the first lyric. I just belt out, "Watch out!" you might get what you're after. Now, honestly, I didn't know the song perfectly after this point, so I sort of modestly glanced down for the second line. And that's when I noticed something, that the screen was no longer on. And I realized suddenly why the woman with the laptop had been furiously punching that button. She had accidentally cut power to the screen the second after I started. I am once again on stage without any lyrics. And I kind of half keep singing at this point, but I am mostly locked on to the woman with the laptop. And I am silently begging her, get those lyrics back up there. You do not understand. You do not understand. And she finally looks up at me and she says, just go. I mean, it's punk rock karaoke, right? So I turn back to face the crowd, who has no idea anything's wrong. They can't see the screen. And all I can think is, well, maybe I got this. I mean, maybe I can summon something or start speaking in tongues, so I plow forward. And it's a little rough at the start. I can see some people kind of cross their arms and they kind of tilt their head a little bit, but I keep going. Except I forgot kind of this important part right after that, and I see a few people kind of crinkle their noses as if I smell bad. And I keep going, but I stumble a little more, and each time I do, I can see a little bit more energy just being sucked out of the room, which means I'm ruining not just my night at this point, I'm ruining everyone else's night as well. And in the end, I bomb. I hydrogen bomb. And I just sort of drop the mic out of my hands and the crowd parts and I make my way over to my good friend Mark, who claps me on the shoulder and says, God, you sucked again. And I really can't argue with him. But then Mark says something that I'll never forget. He says, but really, I mean, that was almost like the most punk thing you could have done to suck so hard. And I was like, yeah. I mean, yeah, that was kind of punk of me. And for the first time, I felt like a real punk rocker. And Mark says, come on, I'll buy you bourbon. And by the end of that drink, I can even laugh about it a little bit. And in this twisted way, I think that bombing like that actually helped me exercise the memory more thoroughly than nailing it ever could have. Because at least I'd gone back up on stage again. I had truly bottomed out this time. And there's nothing more punk than that. Thank you.